Good evening, commissioners and mayor. Thank you for the opportunity to stand before you and voice my concerns again. Thank you, Commissioner Golonsky, for being brave enough to ask the questions people in the community want answers for regarding financial conflicts of interest between city commissioners and nonprofit organizations. Many of us hope that you continue your line of questioning before approving funds. I am here to say that I feel the city has put a target on my back by hand delivering my concerns submitted to a city official, the mayor, to the very persons I'm questioning about. On January 2022, a pedophile was arrested while working at the Children's Museum of Brownsville. That is public property, and the citizens have a right to know what happened with their children. I asked our mayor what intent he had to share a confidential concern regarding the pedophile arrest on public property only with Commissioner Roy, who then shared that concern with the pedophile's mother in a group text with the Mitty Foundation and Children's Museum. Should the expectation of citizens in Brownsville be wary of any concerns about criminal behavior because you'll be targeted, intimidated publicly, and threatened with legal action? Now, this is a valid concern. This morning, a local blog posted a story about me with inside information of Commissioner Roy's desire to sue me for libel and slander. Is this an acceptable way a citizen concern is handled through intimidation and threats of legal repercussions? Commissioner Roy has gone above and beyond a simple data collection on me. Roy has contacted Rudy Mireles with KRGV to manipulate the media coverage on the Children's Museum and knowingly lied to the news by saying I was spreading wild conspiracy theories. I am not a liar. I am not a conspiracy theorist, and I am in search for the truth. Commissioner Roy has abused the public trust. When will enough be enough? Commissioners, I ask you to stand and be brave and ask the tough questions, and that is why you have all been elected. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Plans to convert our currency into crypto. Now, what we have seen has been how it has been lacking. It has been lacking. Live TV, Chigo. There was a time where cryptocurrency was at a point where we all thought it was going to be the next currency. Who can forget at one point Bitcoin reigned supreme? It was valued at $62,000 at its highest point. Now what we have seen has been that crypto, I'm sorry about the tech issues, guys. It's live. Crypto, now it seems as if it is a thing of the past. Bitcoin now has dropped to $18,700. We have seen how government regulations has enforced stricter laws. Now it's a time where it is not convenient for one to convert into crypto. But is cryptocurrency tanking? Is this a point in time where we are going to see the strength of the US dollar, of the euro? Well, cryptocurrency as of right now, it seems as if it is dipping, and it is dipping hard. Bitcoin at its highest point was $65,000, and everybody thought this is the new wave. And many individuals they sold what they had to purchase crypto. They sold many stocks, their portfolios, just to invest in crypto. So if you have crypto this year, you have seen a massive dip in your finances. Now, Cameron County elected officials met yesterday. There were judges. There were justices of the peace, two justices of the peace, one from Harlingen and one from the Los Fresnos area, that was requesting more money. Now, we have always been strong proponents of elected officials wanting more money. At the end of the day, they know what they are getting themselves into. But it seems as if our politicos down in South Texas always find a way to get rich off the tip. While we here continue to struggle with high electricity bills, rent is through the roof, there is no job opportunities, these politicos have aligned themselves very, very well. They themselves are the ones that get fat. Again, getting rich off the public tip. Is elected office, should it be a position to enrich themselves? Public service. One would think that we are here to help the community. Public service is not a time or a place to be rich. While we welcome the Commissioner's Court for rejecting this increase of $5,000 for these justices of the peace, they were seeking $67,000 of their already cushy $60,000 paid position. What we also know about justice of the peace is that they're able to perform weddings, and as we all know, that is a very lucrative gig. Now, what gives? Commissioner Joey Lopez did go on the record yesterday and say, you know what? We wish we could give everybody a raise, but it's not the right time. Again, they shift numbers to make sure that right before election time, they're able to say, hey, we balanced the budget. There is no $5 million deficit. There is no money for anybody else. Why? Because we gave ourselves raises during the pandemic. They gave themselves $11,000 raise. Now, again, should public service be to get rich off the public tip? Do people run for public office because they want to get rich? It seems as if officials within the city and the county have found this to be a very lucrative job. Instead of serving the community in which they're elected to do so, it seems as if they are only focused on enriching themselves. So two county judges, justice of the peace judges, were rejected in their request for $67,000. That should be very telling for other elected officials who see public office as a way to get rich, not on our dime. Even Mayor Trey Mendez posted last year. He said, hey, I get $10. What's your take on the county requesting salary increases? And many insiders joked and said, hey, well, Trey has his hand in the cookie jar. It's not $10. It's a lot more. But it just makes you wonder, are politicians really in it for, as BISD candidates say, for the children? I'm here for the kids. I love the kids. I'll do everything for the kids. Or are they in it for themselves? Yesterday, in a sign of solidarity, school districts around the state of Texas, in particular BISD, were in support of Uvalde ISD, which open up its doors to the start of the 22-23 school year. And who can forget the tragic events that transpired earlier this year? 21 lives were lost in a tragic event of gun violence. BISD, along with other school districts, were showing support by wearing maroon, and schools all across Texas joined this endeavor, and we saw students all marooned out in support of Uvalde ISD. And it's great to see how an initiative like this could get us all together. It is important for us to make sure that we realize that we do have a problem with gun violence, and we need to do a better job of communicating, educating individuals. Do we need stronger gun laws? Yes, of course. In the state of Texas, it is legal to carry a weapon out in public as long as you have it in a holster. But nonetheless, Uvalde Strong was a day which here at BISD we celebrated, and we showed support and solidarity of our fellow Texans. The sad thing about this is that out of all days that Uvalde started school, BISD had its own incident with a gun. And you would think that after the tragic events that happened in Uvalde, the first day of school in BISD, where there was gunshots fired at Porter High, one would think that the citizens of Brownsville would be more reluctant, would be more hesitant to carry weapons, especially on school property. Again, it's legal as long as you have it in a holster, but it is illegal to have it on school grounds. Just yesterday at Paredes Elementary, we did have a couple. It was learned that a couple who was arguing in the school parking lot were arrested. And it's sad because if we as adults are trying to teach our youth the importance of gun safety, of gun violence, is this the idea? Is this what we are showing our youth? That it is okay to carry a gun on school grounds? And what a scary situation for parents. We feared the worst once we hear gun elementary. Oh no, it happened in Uvalde. Is it going to happen in BISD? We were fortunate enough to learn through our superintendent that no shots were fired, no children, no staff, employees were at risk. But it leads us to question, what are we doing as parents? Are we failing our community? Are we failing our youth today? One would think that we as adults are the ones that set the example. Don't take your guns to town, son. Leave your guns at home, Bill. That is something that we have been talking about for quite some time. And Brownsville, ladies and gentlemen, who could forget about Cummings Middle School? That still lives fresh in my mind. I was at the university when I got that text. Shots fired, student killed at Cummings Middle School. That is a tragic event that will live in the history of the city of Brownsville. We had Uvalde, over 21 deaths that were taken on that day. Teachers and students on the first day of school at Porter, shots were fired. And then, out of all days, the day that Uvalde started school and the day that all schools throughout Texas showed support and solidarity of Uvalde Strong, we had an incident here at BISD. This couple was arrested, but nonetheless, it is very scary to know that guns is something. It's part of our everyday lives, but the ignorance, one would say, the lack of safety. A couple was arguing on school property, and we do not know whether he was waving the gun, obviously, because how would somebody know unless the woman feared for her life and ran into the school and said, he's got a gun, he's got a gun. Just imagine how frantic teachers, administrators were at Paredes. To hear that someone has a gun on school grounds is very, very scary. It seems as if our society does not know the significance, does not know the importance of gun safety. Is this the Wild West where everyone is packing heat? And if I have an argument with my significant other, I'll just take it out and threaten her. That is the reality in which we live, we find ourselves in, it seems. It is very, very scary to hear that our loved ones could possibly be in harm's way. We applaud BISD police, all the other law enforcement agencies that did respond to the scene. But nonetheless, are we failing as a society? Do we need to talk more about gun safety, gun violence? Because something obviously is not resonating with us. The city of Brownsville yesterday had a circus on their hands. Property taxes were increased yesterday, were approved. Many people argued and stated, why is everybody raising taxes? Cameron County is raising taxes. The city of Harlingen is raising taxes. And now the city of Brownsville yesterday announced that they will also be increasing taxes based on the property values. Now, at a time where we are struggling, many individuals are living paycheck to paycheck, one would think that they would at least try to help us in some sort of relief. But as many argued and stated, Frankie, most of them have historical designations. They don't pay taxes, so they don't care. It doesn't pertain to them. Remember, as long as it doesn't affect the pocketbooks of the elected officials, it seems as if nothing gets done. But yesterday, we saw a circus on our hands. The issue was the hot tax fund for this upcoming year, and the city set this date aside to be able to balance the budget for this upcoming year. And the hot tax fund is used as a way to promote tourism, promote the city of Brownsville. These funds are designated to bring outside people into Brownsville. We have many nonprofit organizations that did sign up and request these funds. The issue, of course, has been, what are they doing with our money? Are they being physically responsible with our money? And what we saw yesterday live was an embarrassment. We saw who was loyal to the middies, who would go down for the middies. And even though it was $40,000, one key word that we kept on hearing throughout these budget talks for these tax fund, these hot tax fund, was double dipping. Are these nonprofit organizations, are they double dipping? Are we already using money for a certain thing, but then the middies are doing the exact same thing? Do we need to give money to both when one already is doing the job for themselves? And let's take a look at all these nonprofits that made this request. Gladys Porter Zoo, as we all know, is a very important part of our city. And this does require 30% of the proposed hot tax fund. They are requesting $500,000. The city of Brownsville, the Museum of Fine Arts, Performing Arts. The interesting thing, ladies and gentlemen, is that the Camille Playhouse did not make a request. Now, why is that? Is there an issue with Commissioner Roy de los Santos, who I believe no longer sits on the board? Last year, as we can see here, the Camille Playhouse, they received $21,000 as opposed to zero. Did they not request money because they said, you know what, we're not going to get it? Again, this is for outside tourism. But let's take a look at Sombrero Festival. Sombrero Festival did not request any funds last year. This year, they're requesting $100,000. That is a lot of money, ladies and gentlemen. Now, let's remember, Sombrero Festival is a large event that is taking place in February, a week-long event, a weekend event. And what we have seen time and time again, and what we have heard, is that Sombrero Festival is nonprofit. They're just there to wash, to break even, so to speak. My question is, Where does the money go that is collected from the previous year? Do we have any sort of accountability? The commissioners yesterday stated that there was no proper protocol in generating or reviewing how much traffic comes from outside of Brownsville. Again, the key word for this is outside. We want people to come to Brownsville. We want tourism. Sombrero Festival, ladies and gentlemen, this is an event for the citizens of Brownsville. Do we get people from Los Fresnos, McAllen, San Benito, Harlingen? Yes, I would dare say we do. But is it a large percentage of them where they are renting hotels left and right, where they are spending money at our restaurants? I would dare say that is very, very small percentage of individuals that do so. Commissioner Golonsky was very vocal when asking the Sombrero representatives and stating, what are you going to do to bring outside people? And their response was, we're not going to do anything. This is just so we can sustain it. This is for the people of Brownsville. Commissioner Golonsky stated, well, then why did you apply? And the representative said, because we could. These individuals want our money. What have they been doing with the money from previous years? Shouldn't it be where, hey, I just need $20,000, $15,000? It seems as if these individuals are asking money because they know they're going to get it no matter what. It is sad to note how these nonprofits are seeking money. Beer Fest is also at the very bottom. Beer Fest requested $25,000. Now, does this promote tourism? Are these people from the outside? No, all these events, ladies and gentlemen, are parties that the elites throw on. Sombrero Festival is more of a city, but if you're in the upper echelons, you're the one enjoying the party. Beer Fest, if y'all have attended, I'm not a beer drinker. Beer Fest, if you go, it's all the politicos and their friends. That's not tourism. Again, this money should be for tourism. One entity that I was surprised with was Mr. Amigo. And when I first heard them requesting $75,000, I said, you know what? I don't know. I don't think so. I wouldn't be in support of that. But then the representative from Mr. Amigo stated that Mr. Amigo will be having events throughout the year in August, in Charros in February, in August, and sometime in October, November, the Noche de Garibay. And one thing that impressed me was that they really do promote from the outside, and people do come for this event. Now, is it tied with Sombrero? Of course. They're one of the same, it seems. But Mr. Amigo did a good job of promoting themselves and doing something different, because we are all used to Mr. Amigo Sombrero doing or being one of the same. But one thing that caught my attention was how Mr. Amigo did differentiate themselves from Sombrero Festival. They will be having different events throughout the year, which is going to benefit the citizens of Brownsville. It is going to be something different from Charro days. Again, and one thing that also caught many people's attention was the Midi Cultural Foundation. Now, this is a big screw up, guys, because it says it's a Midi Cultural Foundation or a Midi Cultural District. Well, what is it? Yesterday, the city attorney for the Midi Cultural District / Foundation came out and said for public comments, again, they did a horrible job in trying to protect the name and likeness of the Midi Cultural District. He stated that the citizens of Brownsville were bad-mouthing the great work that the Midi Foundation have done. The city of Brownsville is in debt to the Midi Cultural District. That is what it seemed like. And the attorney said, shame on you, commissioners, for allowing people to talk bad about the Midi Cultural District, Foundation, whatever. I'm confused myself. The attorney stated that they have never asked money from the citizens of Brownsville. Yesterday, we had them requesting $40,000 for marketing. And two commissioners that really stood out was Mr. Cardenas and Ms. Golonsky. Commissioners, Golonsky and Cardenas. They were the ones that asked the tough questions. They said, you know what? Ain't that double dipping? Ain't the Midi Cultural Foundation using this money for marketing, this $40,000 for marketing? Don't we give Gladys Porter Zoo money for marketing? Isn't some of that $500,000 allocated for somebody in particular to market that events or that entity? What about Sombrero? What about Mr. Amigo? What about all these non-other profit organizations? It seems as if the mayor, Cowan and Gowan, and unfortunately Jessica Tetro, have some sort of alliance to the Midi Cultural District Foundation, whatever it is. Yesterday, ladies and gentlemen, and I encourage you to watch the vote. It was a circus. It took 3 or 4 motions to make it happen. First, Commissioner Galansky said that she was not in favor of giving Sombrero $100,000 or the Midi Cultural Foundation. So Commissioner Roy de los Santos, because he has his hands in pretty much everything, so I don't know why he's a commissioner if he has his hands in just about everything. He excluded himself because of a conflict of interest. Now he sees a conflict of interest. So we had Cowan, Gowan, Cardenas, Tetro, Galansky, and Mayor Trey Mendez. 6 individuals to vote. The first time Galansky said no, Mr. Cardenas said no, and it was all up to the diva, Miss Jessica Tetro, to vote. And her thing was, you know what, I do not want to vote no because then it is going to affect the other nonprofit organizations. She ultimately voted no the first time. The second time, they couldn't agree to it. It turned out to be 3 or 4 times. And they were negotiating, ladies and gentlemen. They were negotiating on the bench in front of the world. They were saying, what do we do this? What do we do that? What do we do? Commissioner Gowan said, hey, we can't do that. We're here to either accept, approve, or deny this recommendations. Now, one thing that really caught me by surprise was how Commissioner Jessica Tetro, how she sided. She sided with Commissioner Gowan, Cowan, and Mayor Trey Mendez in passing, in approving these hot tax funds for these nonprofits. And again, this money in question was over $1.8 million that were going to be given out. And one thing that did bother me, and one thing that did seem like a circus, was that, oh, this is so messed up, but we'll fix it later. Right now, let's just approve this, and then we'll deal with it later, it seems. Our city officials are more tied to all these nonprofit organizations that they will never dare say no. One thing that did caught my attention, was when Commissioner Cardenas stated, what am I going to tell these people? People are going to ask me, why did you vote yes for $40,000? Isn't this double dipping? This is very important because it shows that he's listening to the masses, that people are questioning every vote that he takes. It's important for us as constituents to remind the city commission that they work for us and not the other way around. Were these nonprofits double dipping? Why does Sombrero need $100,000? And one of their excuse was, oh, it's because if not, the prices will go even higher. Let's not kid ourselves. People are going to go to Sombrero, whether it's $20 a ticket or $30 a ticket. They're still going to go no matter what. This is just a way for individuals to get money. And you might say, oh, Frankie, you think everybody's corrupt. And no, I do feel that there are some good, genuine people who wholeheartedly care about their nonprofits. But at the end of the day, when there's that much money involved, ladies and gentlemen, people get greedy. People get sticky hands, sticky fingers. There was a circus yesterday, ladies and gentlemen, in City Hall. And the only individuals that really stood their ground were 2 commissioners. And who could forget Brian Martinez? He tried to clarify and say, oh, I'm the marketing director. There is not double dipping. And one thing that they couldn't answer, Brian Martinez being the marketing director extraordinaire that he is, He couldn't answer Commissioner Cardenas's question. Well, what are you going to do with this money? And he said, well, we're going to tie it to events. And Commissioner Cardenas said, okay, what events? They couldn't answer it. They had no idea. Another representative stated, well, that's something that we need to plan. But how can we put the cart before the horse? How am I going to give you money if you don't know what the hell you're going to do? Again, optics, ladies and gentlemen, yesterday was bad. It was very, very bad for our city commission to be there dealing, wheeling and dealing and saying, oh, no, well, let's give this one this. And what if you amend this? And these individuals don't seem to notice how there is an appearance of impropriety, in my opinion, regarding all these nonprofits. I am in support of the majority of them, but when you have the likes of Sombrero requesting $100,000, what for? What? And one thing that Galansky did grill the representative on was, well, with this money, how are you going to target people from the outside? And you know what they said? Well, it's not for attracting people from the outside. These hot tax fund is for tourism, ladies and gentlemen. And our city commission folded. The only two individuals that held true to their word and held true to their guns was Commissioner Galansky and Commissioner Cardenas. It was only them that said, you know what? I need to answer to the citizens of Brownsville. My people, my constituents are going to ask me, why did you approve that? Why did you approve the $40,000 for the Midi Cultural District Foundation, whatever? He said, ain't that double dipping? Brian Martinez, the marketing director extraordinaire, that he is, couldn't answer Commissioner Cardenas' question as to what are you going to be doing with that money. It is very important for us to recognize individuals that do ask the tough questions. It's tough being on this side of the aisle, ladies and gentlemen. The likes of bloggers, the likes of Erasmo Castro, Susan, Ashley, those individuals that are vocal, it is hard for them, for us, to make those statements. We don't get the platform that Commissioner Cardenas, Commissioner Galansky have. We applaud these commissioners for asking those tough questions. What are you going to do with the money? And again, the key word that I'm very impressed with is, what am I going to tell them? I know they're watching. As soon as I get off, they're going to blow me up on my phone. The constituents, ladies and gentlemen, the constituents are tired of individuals being irresponsible with taxpayer money. We have seen it at the county level where they give themselves raises during the pandemic, ladies and gentlemen, when nobody was hiring, when there was no money to go around. The county commissioners found it in themselves to give money. Gladys Porter Zoo at one time did not have enough money to feed the animals. They had to go start a GoFundMe page to raise money for the animals. That was not including staff salaries. I am all in support of us assisting nonprofit organizations that promote the city of Brownsville. But it seems as if these individuals are using this for their own personal gain. Brian Martinez, being the marketing director extraordinaire, is going to benefit from these monies. Again, it is stated that he will be making a handsome salary as the Midi Cultural District Foundation, whatever, marketing director. And he is Commissioner Roy de los Santos, chief of staff. Who else has a chief of staff? No one. Just Roy de los Santos. Is our city commissioners, are they being physically responsible with our money? We saw how the mayor, Cowan Gowan, and unfortunately, Jessica Tetreault fold and give the middies and bow down to the middies. Now, it is alleged that, or it is rumored that Commissioner Tetreault, since she is not able to run in her seat no more based on the city charter, will be making an attempt to run for city mayor. Do we want a flip-flopper? Do we want an individual who is not sure because, oh my God, I have to please these people? You should have seen her there on that seat, ladies and gentlemen. It was an embarrassment. She was there as a diva. Oh, why did y'all do this to me? I'm the last vote. But if I vote no, but if I vote yes. You vote with conviction. You vote with certainty. You want your people to know what side of the aisle you're in. If I say one thing and I do another thing shortly thereafter, what are you going to say? Frankie no es de palabra. Frankie's not a man of his word. Frankie has no backbone. And it bothers me, ladies and gentlemen, because I want our females on that commission to be empowered. I want our females to show strength and solidarity. What I saw yesterday was a female that was scared, a female that had blinded by the lights, deer in headlights. Oh my God, which way do I go? 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 An individual who is rumored to be running for city mayor flopped on the vote. When she voted no, she shortly thereafter said yes. Is this what you want for your city commission? Are they being physically responsible? The only two individuals that we applaud are these two on the screen. They are the only ones that ask those tough questions, and we applaud them, and we want them to keep on making tougher decisions. It is only up to us now to remind them, just how Commissioner Cárdenas stated, what am I going to tell these people? Because he knows that we're watching. And that, my friends, is the rest of the story. Cameron County rejects judge's request for more money. I asked my employer once, I said, hey, I want 6 figures. They said, Frankie, sayonara. Go try that in the private sector. Same thing with these judges. They want more money. They feel as if they are worth a certain amount. Well, go test the market. See how tough it is. But our elected officials are so used to sucking on that tit, on the taxpayer tit, that they don't care. They say, oh, well, I have 20 years in office. So if you have so much experience, go out into the real world. Make those 6 figures. Make that $67,000. While we applaud Cameron County for rejecting this unanimously, we also know the reasons why we are here, because they themselves, the Cameron County officials, elected officials, they gave themselves raises. And when the employees and when the judges came to ask for their employees for more raises, we ain't got no more money. I'm sorry. Uvalde Strong. Yesterday, schools throughout the state of Texas, in show of solidarity, wore maroon. Here at BISD, we saw pictures of students, administrators wear maroon. The sad part about it is, out of all days, Brownsville being Brownsville, we had a gun on an elementary campus. What does that tell us about gun safety, gun violence? Back in my day, if you had a problem with your wife, hey man, you would talk about it, you would discuss it. You know, nowadays, hey, they're quick on the draw. It seems they're quick to go on a gun. We are still dealing with the effects of Uvalde, of that massacre. On the first day of school, BISD had shots fired at Porter, and just yesterday, a gun was on campus. Just imagine, elementary gun. I'm sure all of our parents in our city freaked out at the thought of having another Uvalde on the day that Uvalde started school of all times. And hot fun tax voting circus. Yesterday we saw who has a backbone and who doesn't. Yesterday we saw who is loyal and will bow down to the middies. Yesterday we had 2 commissioners that did ask those tough questions, while other commissioners were reluctant to stick to their guns and vote for the middies. 2 individuals, Commissioners Cárdenas and Golonsky, were the ones that did ask those tough questions and say, hey, isn't this double dipping? Shouldn't we be more responsible with our money? All that money goes, it seems, to Brian Martinez and the Midi Cultural District. And that, my friends, is the rest of the story. Thank you so much for your patience, ladies and gentlemen. Tech issues in the morning. I had to start at 15 minutes late. Audio issues. This is live TV, guys. I wouldn't change it for the world. I hate editing. Thank you so much for your patience and your time. I wouldn't be nothing without each and every one of you. Hope to see you here on Friday. I hope to change and perfect My production, as you all know, I am very prideful in my work, and this is very unacceptable. I will get back to the drawing boards and do better on Friday. Thanks so much for your time and your patience. Hope to see you here. Hope you give me another chance on Friday. God bless.